Okay. All right. Okay. All right. We are going live.
And I'm also going to share the
Awesome.
live to start a watch party on my Facebook too.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Sorry, we're running a few minutes late. We're jumping off calls and that, but I am here. My name is Sophia Leva Marie with Nurturing Divine Beauty, and I'm here with one of my absolute favorite human-ish friends, Giuliano Geronymo. He's a master in energy and sound and alchemical transformation. And I love him so much that I married him in another lifetime. And in this lifetime, we're just amazing friends and get to co-create together. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you, Sophia, and aloha. I just want to express my gratitude for this opportunity to share from my heart. And thank you for the introduction. There is so much beauty that unfolds when we connect with one another. And the word synergy, I feel, perfectly encapsulates that. So just wanting to honor the synergy that we have, you know, not only us two, but that we all have when we choose to come together in a good way like this. And I feel this is the new paradigm. Well, new. This is the old way. This is how our ancestors and indigenous peoples have been living for many, 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 many years. And now it's starting to come into us. They call our little brothers and little sisters, that we can rekindle these ways that are really quite simple. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to come back to our roots. And they are certainly the roots of our human family. So thank you for, mahalo for this opportunity to connect with you. Mahalo for all that you choose to embody. Mahalo for the way that you choose to show up in this life and move through this world in such a beautiful and graceful way. Mahalo for your friendship. Mahalo for this chance to weave with you again in this lifetime.
Yes, yes, thank you. I received that. Mm. Well, to begin with, I actually want to connect on something you just said about the indigenous cultures. We are honored to live on the beautiful island of Maui, and each of us, we get to learn from these beautiful indigenous cultures. You also travel around the world and learn more about the cultures that actually thrive, that actually were in communion, that actually co-created with Mother Earth. And how important is that, especially now? And how do we actually take and co-create with these indigenous cultures and learn from them so that we can actually honor each other and Mother Earth?
I love this question. For me, I have been blessed with a capital B to find these ways again and have the opportunity to visit indigenous peoples, native peoples in different parts of the world. I spent some time in Colombia connecting with native peoples in the Putumayo jungle, the Inga tribe, and seeing how they live, and learned so much from that. The power of simplicity, the power of tending to the earth, the power of deepening our connection to the earth, learning about the plants around us, learning about the animals, seeing how they live, what we can learn from these relatives. And having lived here in the Hawaiian Islands is such a treat, it's such a gift, it's such a privilege, it's such an honor. And having some time to connect with some locals here and some kahunas, some elders. And for me, I'm so fascinated because even though these peoples are spread all around the world, they share a commonality. And this is living in communion with this planet. And there really isn't much to it, which is the good thing. We don't have to go so far out of our way, those of us that live in cities. For example, one thing that we can do is just recognize that this earth, this planet, it's alive. And we're a part of it. We literally are the earth. You know, they say you are what you eat. We eat the food, we eat the earth, we receive the earth, we become the earth. We become this planet. We receive the intelligence and the consciousness of this earth, and it fuses with our own intelligence. And again, there's this synergy happening again. So little by little, in our own way, whatever way we feel guided, we can deepen these ways, we can deepen this connection, learning to see that there is consciousness in everything, in the water that we drink, taking a moment to connect with this water. What a gift, what a blessing that we have access to clean drinking water. And taking that moment, taking that sacred pause before we drink, before we receive these codes in the water. And similarly with our food, you know, whether we're cooking something from our home, or we're picking an orange from the orange tree, or we're going out to eat somewhere in a restaurant with some friends, just honoring and recognizing that this is a gift from the earth, that this food is nourishment, this food is sustenance, not just physically, but energetically. There's life force in the food. In Hawaiian, they call this word mana, energy, spiritual energy. And when we make that connection, we take that sacred pause, then we open ourselves to receive beyond feeding just our physical body, but our spiritual body. And I've been practicing this for a few years now, and I notice a difference. One thing that it has opened in me is a sense of gratitude. Gratitude to have access to these blessings, gratitude to have access to this way of thinking, to this perspective, to this simplicity, to this ancestral way of thinking that has stood the test of time till today for a reason. So these are two simple ways. There's many, many more. But I think if we just start with this, we're off to a good start. We can begin to gain and build momentum in our lives and take it from there, you know, noticing where you are in the world and seeking out if there are native peoples, indigenous peoples in your area, asking around or just setting that intention within yourself, if it's in your highest, to align with these people. Not just to learn, but to remember. All of this information of this way of living, it's still in our DNA. This information is within us, waiting patiently to be activated just with our intention. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes, remember. So this global event that has happened, it is helping all of us to take this sacred pause. And in this pause, what would you say is the synergy? What would you say is the gift in this seemingly uproar of a time where, you know, this virus has, you know, certainly brought structures, it's changed jobs, families, different ways of being, civil rights, all these things. But what is actually the synergy? What is actually the gifts that this event has brought forward?
In one word, sovereignty. In my personal experience, I can only speak of my personal experience in the context of my life, in a humble way. So for me, when I say sovereignty, what I mean is we get to see how much I rely on a certain system of governance in my life for food, for my career, for my water, for, you know, almost everything that I need to live my life. And this system is such a blessing. For me, what's been helpful is to see what's happening with equanimity and neutrality. And from this perspective, I get to stay in an expanded state of awareness that allows me to see what's really happening around me and how I can approach this situation in my life in the best way. So for example, some things that I've been doing is planting seeds. Simple. We can do this wherever we are. You can ask your neighbor for soil, or if you don't have access to soil, you can go to Home Depot. There's a Home Depot almost everywhere in the United States. And planting seeds of herbs, planting tomatoes, planting whatever vegetables and fruits grow best in your area. This gift is giving us the opportunity to come back to our own hands and to create with sovereignty in our lives so that we don't have to rely as much on the system that we have been operating in, and instead take our lives into our own hands to accept that I have free will in this life, that I get to, in each moment, choose which direction I want to go with whatever choices I have around me. And this is something that I have been sharing and conversing about with some friends around the island that are also doing the same thing. Planting seeds, building a garden, in whatever space you have. If you're living in a smaller apartment or a studio, you can still get some pots and plants. If you have access to land around you, you can plant it directly in the dirt. And seeing the change that's happening in some friends in particular, how their energy is changing. They're starting to realize, they're starting to wake up and rekindle this relationship with the earth, rekindle this relationship with their sovereignty. And seeing, actually, yeah, I can grow my own food, and I would prefer it in some cases. Mm-hmm. So coming back to this word sovereignty every day and reflecting, how can I be more sovereign in my own life? How can I adapt and be flexible to what's happening around me instead of fighting it and pushing it? For example, I share weekly sound healing at Lumeria here in Maui, and this is something that I look forward to every Tuesday. Unfortunately, many places have closed, or fortunately, many places have closed. Other studios that I share at and offer healing sessions, and I'm thinking, well, what can I do? Because the first few days, I was frustrated for sure. I was angry because it just brings so much joy and fulfillment into my life. But now I have to think of another way. How can I get my message? How can I get my medicine to people? And I just started to look around and explore with curiosity and gratitude. And thanks to Zoom, I have been able to now shift to online virtual sound healing ceremonies, which for me it's a trip. It really is a trip. And this is just, again, from my own personal experience, but I invite each one of us to see, if you feel that anger, if you feel that frustration, of course, that's normal. But see that this is an opportunity for us to explore, why is it that I'm feeling these strong emotions? And how can I adapt to what's around me? Our lives are not going to go back to normal, which is a gift in itself as well, because it's giving us the opportunity, if we so choose with our free will, to elevate and to reorient ourselves and recalibrate to where the collective energy is moving.
Yes. Yes. I love that you really pinpoint the idea of sovereignty, because a lot of emotions have been brought up that feel that you're perhaps at the effect of something, the effect of the government, the effect of the virus, the effect of the things that have closed. Yet we get to choose, and we get to choose again. And what a beautiful time this is. And this entire series has in part been about those ideas, as well as the idea of intuition and how important it is to anchor into that for ourselves so that we can then connect with others who are doing the same. So what would you say is the role of intuition in sovereignty?
Okay. Sovereignty and intuition are a divine marriage. Sovereignty, I feel, is the context. It's the frame, it's the container. In a sense, it can be seen as like this masculine sovereignty, I am. And the intuition is like this flow of inner guidance that we all have. Each one of us has this inner guidance. And from this context of sovereignty, tuning in each moment and feeling from the center of your being, what is the best action to take in this moment? Where is it that I would be most supported in which direction of my life? What is this new template or way of being that is wanting to be birthed through me to expand into this collective direction? So intuition is, it's key. It's gift with a capital G. Because our intuition is what allows us to maintain this sense of sovereignty. When we can get really clear with ourselves, whatever practice supports you to come into this space of silence and inner listening and connect in with this inner GPS that we have and how this GPS is guiding us and how we can develop a relationship with it. It also takes discernment, because many times in my life, I felt, oh, I should do this thing. And then I do it and it's kind of blocked. And then I need to think, okay, was this my intuitive guidance? Or was this me thinking, oh, I should do this, coming from a space of maybe contraction or fear or doubt or confusion, uncertainty? So it takes time. It's a lifetime practice to hone our intuition, to learn to be really clear and to recognize, this is the voice of my intuition, because there's so many voices in here. Get to know each voice, get to know each one, and remembering that there's no mistakes, there's no errors, there's only opportunities for learning and recalibration. So when we shift to that perspective, what a relief. I can't make a mistake. There is no wrong. There's only recalibration, awareness, attentiveness, and learning. Learning with curiosity, playing with this intuition, seeing where it leads you. I have always been so overwhelmingly fulfilled and inspired in each moment that I've chosen to listen to the voice of my intuition. And rarely, rarely, rarely is it ever linear. Does it ever make sense? Which is kind of fun. And this is fascinating to me, to move through my life in this way, in a way that is beyond the linearity that I have been raised in some senses of my life path, in which direction I should move, what I should do, what I should study, and where I should take it from there. So it's giving us the chance to move in a new way, live in a new way, again, new, but living from this space, living from this inner guidance, living from this inner GPS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that perspective, and I think that will give people some ideas of how to, I don't know that I want to use the word rationalize, but that they can maybe cognitize it so that they can understand it for themselves. As far as when you're connecting to this intuition, what is it like when you actually connect with others who are doing the same? What does that create?
Oh gosh. It creates space
Mm,
for anything to come through. It creates space for us to connect with each other and embody the synergy. For example, the last few weeks, I have been so blessed to co-create these virtual sound healing ceremonies with a dear brother Claudio. And normally, not normally, usually I facilitate the sound healing ceremonies just with myself because there's a certain particularity in the energetic protocol and what it is that I'm wanting to do or guide or flow with the energy, with the sounds. So when I have this opportunity to connect with Claudio, connecting my intuition, he connects with his, and we connect with each other, we enter into this intuitive space where once we open this altar, once we light this candle to invite the sacred flame to be with us, to illuminate this space, we don't know what's going to happen from there. We really don't know. In each moment, listening and feeling what is wanting to come through. In some moments, he's drumming, he's sharing intuitively the sounds that are coming through him. And maybe I feel inspired intuitively to pick up my drum as well and flow with him and go into that space of unknown, uncertainty, mystery, where much more is available for us to access from that space than, oh, I have these 8 songs that I want to share. First this one, then that one, then that one, then that one. It doesn't work the same. It's a different experience. Night and day different experience. So this is one example of the gift of weaving intuitively with a brother.
beautiful, beautiful. And as we're creating, as we're connecting into our intuition, what comes to mind is that we get to choose where we focus. So, yes, certain things are going on at this time. Certain things may be complicated or hard, even really difficult or sad. Yet, where do we focus? We've been talking about it in the context of the horizon. And as I was feeling into the horizon, interestingly enough, the analogy came up of smoke jumpers. The men who fight fires, they jump out of planes and they fight fires. So as they're jumping out, they're facing smoke and wind and their own fear, yet they have a particular place that they're looking at to land, and they just go for that. So that is their horizon, that is their focus. So despite what's going on in the world, what is actually the horizon that we are focused on? What is beyond what is? What intuitively do you know is the new horizon, both for yourself and for humanity?
Mm, mm. This is a big question. This is a really big question.
Yeah.
And when we ask big questions, we can get big answers. And for me, in the space of humility, I can share coming back to this sovereignty, coming back to this free will, coming back to this discernment, and coming back finally to this intuition. The horizon is whatever we want it to be. We have access to an infinite amount of potentials, future realities that we can align to and take actions towards manifesting and embodying. So it can go any way that we want it to go. Now for this, it really does take getting clear with each one of ourselves and with the collective. Intuitively, what can I do right now to be in alignment and energetic integrity and coherence with the highest possible potential future reality timeline? And this can change from moment to moment. But I feel ultimately, if we so choose, we can, as a collective, harmonize together once again as a global tribe, just like the indigenous communities around the world. I feel we have been disconnected. Many of us have been, myself included in certain ways, from this planet, from this earth, from the natural rhythm. For who knows how many years, decades, centuries, maybe. And for me, I choose, for my personal horizon, to cultivate and strengthen my relationship with this planet, to continue planting food, to continue honoring the water, to continue going to the source, my own source, but also the source of ancestral wisdom, and connecting with these elders, connecting with these guides, connecting with these guardians and stewards of the earth, and asking them humbly, with the ways that you've learned to live in harmony with the planet, what can I do? What can I apply? What lifestyle changes can I make so that while you're tending to the roots, those of us that live here in the cities, we can extend our branches. You keep us rooted and we can elevate your energy into the cities. I see many people on Facebook, Instagram, social media, posting videos of phenomena in nature that they've never seen before. The skies getting clearer, the water getting clearer, the air, the quality of the air is different. It's changing. It has a different smell to it. We can remember now the beauty of what's around us and learn to value this beauty, so much so that each one of us can make changes into our lifestyle so that we can preserve and cultivate this beauty that's surrounding us in nature. Learning to get to know where our food's coming from, how is it being grown? For example, what kind of farming practices are being used? When we go shopping in the grocery store, cleaning products that we use that are biodegradable, that are sustainable, that are made in a good way, that are having natural ingredients. We see this word natural a lot in grocery stores. Rarely is it ever natural. But again, come to that space of sovereignty and bring more attention, bring more awareness into the way that we're living. And with free will, making these choices that are supportive for us, that are supportive for the planet, so that on the horizon, we can move towards a direction collectively together as one to embody these roles as earth guardians, as earth keepers, as children of the earth. The earth is always coming first. The earth is our source. The earth is our sustenance, as well as the sun. But we're living on the earth. How can we care for it? Because it cares for us generously, abundantly. How can we reciprocate that? And still have a job, still have a family, still have our day-to-day. It's all good. But within those spaces, how can we creatively weave our lives to be in harmony and in alignment? It doesn't need to be a drastic change, but just a little shift each and every day, shifting a little more, shifting a little more, shifting a little more. If each person on the 7+ billion people on this planet made just one little tiny shift today, whew, the magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. It's now we're talking on the magnitude of miracles. So this is what I feel. This is what I am moving towards. This is the horizon that I have my eyes focused on, that I'm looking out to, and that I'm moving towards, taking these action steps to move towards this horizon.
Beautiful. That would be quite magnificent if each and every individual took this opportunity and this invitation that we have to, as you say, just make one small shift. And that would be just, yeah, truly glorious. So I wonder what it would take for that to happen. Because it's totally possible. It is. So I want to thank you for coming here and playing with us and sharing your beautiful energy and wisdom. And I'm sure more people are curious about you who may not have experienced you before. So tell people a little bit about how you like to play in the world, what your way of being is, and how they might connect to you.
Oh. Since I was a little boy, I've always been fascinated by magic. I've always believed in magic. Living in this world of magic, living in this world of innocent creation. And when I was about 10 or 11, more or less, this is this stage between a child and a teenager. So it's in between two cycles. And right in the middle is when the Harry Potter books came out. So for many of us in the West, especially, we come to a point where we shift out of this world of magic and we come into reality. I'm so fortunate and so blessed that these books found me, because these characters were more or less the same age, and this allowed me to nurture this perspective, nurture this openness, continue to cultivate this belief that magic is real. And when I was about 16 or 17, somebody told me about meditation. I didn't really know what it was. I'd heard about it kind of, and I explored it a bit. And eventually I ended up meeting one of my mentors, Christelle Chupard, who, again, is another believer in magic and spent the last almost 3 decades studying with indigenous peoples, native peoples all over the world, Australia, Asia, South America, Central America, North America, and seeing that these people live in the real reality with a capital R. So I began to explore spirituality and feeling, yeah, I knew there was something more to life. I knew there was something more to reality with a lowercase r. And this confirms it. This confirms that reality with a capital R does exist, has always existed, and now, poof, I'm plugged back in. If I could put it in one word, it is awaken. I had this opportunity to awaken. But this is not a static word. This word is dynamic. This word is a process. This word is an evolution and an unfolding. This path of awakening. And as I start to awaken, my friends started to notice something was changing. I was behaving differently. I was speaking differently. I was living differently. many lifestyle habits I had before just didn't call my attention anymore. And I start to explore a more natural way of living, an organic way of living. And had the opportunity to train with Christelle and learn how she works with people, how she supports people to awaken with this methodology that is based on the 5 elements of nature. So for me, such an alignment there. And seeing that in this perspective of this methodology, each one of these elements represents a certain aspect of our life, where the air element is more about our way of thinking, our beliefs, which beliefs are supporting us, which beliefs are limiting us and maintaining us in a contractive state of living. The fire element is more about our action, how we behave, how we activate our energy, this sense of motivation and spark. Connecting deeper with the water element, which is the chance for us to be in the space of intuition and relationships, connecting with our emotions, connecting with my emotions. I get to connect deeper with the earth element, which is my physical body, and of course the earth around me, learning how to relate with this earth in a good way. And the last element that I get to learn about with her is the ether. So it's like this spiritual connection that I have, that we all have, this relationship that is unique and different for each one of us. We can connect, some people more through meditation, some people more through yoga, some people more through prayer, some people walking on the beach. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I have the blessing to work with people, I get to see where they are in the context of each of these 5 elements and see where is this main blockage? Where is this element needing some support, whether it's into their relationships, having some stress, not seeing eye to eye with someone, going into this element of the water and seeing what's causing this blockage. What is this stone that's blocking the flow of water in their life? And seeing what we can do to release this stone so that the waters can flow again. So this has been a main way for me to support people to recognize and release stress triggers and also awaken their inner gifts. Awaken these inspirations, awaken these visions that they have for their life, these dreams that they have, and giving them practical tools that allow them to move towards it. With my guidance in the methodology, guiding them to their intuition and their inner voice. What is it that they feel intuitively is the next step to take? Of course, always keeping a framework and offering suggestions. Now, for me, what's been fascinating is applying this to my own life. I got to reconnect with music, which is one of my gifts, which is one of my passions, which is one of my first loves. And I got to explore this music and got to learn about sound healing. Really, you can open a space and create an energy field with instruments and a specific intention that supports those who are in this field to shift back into alignment, to have emotional releases, to regress back to traumatic experiences from childhood and revisit, recharge, release any judgment, and distill that pearl of wisdom, what they could learn from that experience, whether it was to establish boundaries or to use their voice. Really, we can do that with music and sound. So I began to explore and train with different people how to facilitate these sound healing ceremonies, how to support people to awaken in this way. And this has been really fascinating work for me to connect with one of my soul purposes, one of my soul gifts, to give a space for others to open and connect with their own. So I feel very fortunate that my life, my inspiration from the center of my being, has blossomed to allow me to connect with different modalities that have allowed me to support people to have transformation in their life, to alchemize their experiences, to see what they're not seeing, and to feel home in their bodies again, to reconnect with this intuition, to reconnect with this sovereignty, and to give them the tools so that they can stand on their own 2 feet and move in the direction that inspires their heart. For me, it's that simple. And I am so grateful that I have been blessed with these opportunities to support people, because just as all my teachers and all my guides and all my mentors have elevated me, now I have the opportunity in a humble way to elevate others so that this can be a ripple effect. They can elevate their family members, they can elevate their friends, they can elevate their community, their colleagues in their workplace.
Mhm.
Mm.
Beautiful. And having gotten to experience it myself, I can definitely attest to that, as well as the remembering of these gifts and these talents. So I want to thank you so much, Giuliano, for being here and sharing the gift that you are and the energy that you are, and just the pure love in motion, both for the earth and for humanity. And I want to thank you for sharing that with us.
And I want to share a mahalo nui loa, a very long thank you for this opportunity to express myself in a good way, in a humble way, in a way that really honors my intuition and my inner guidance and what it is that I am here to share on this planet. And a mahalo nui loa to you, Sophia, for the great blessing and the auspiciousness of having the chance and the opportunity to align with somebody of your caliber, getting to know you better in these last months, and seeing how you walk, seeing how you live, seeing how you think, and being inspired by you in many ways. Mahalo for all that you embody, all that you sustain on this planet, for choosing to remain in energetic integrity, for choosing to live in coherence with your heart's intuition, and that this way of being can continue to inspire all those that we relate with, remembering that rarely do we ever have to say a word about it, because our energetic presence is felt, it is noted, we are seen, and many times that's more than enough. We don't have to step on a soapbox anymore, but instead step down and connect with the earth and allow people to feel in our being that something is different about this one. And then only when they ask a question, then we can share a little bit, just a little bit. So thank you for this opportunity. This is such a gift for me to hold the space with you. And mahalo for all these other breakout sessions that you will have, choosing to use your creative energy to support the planet, to support the collective in this way, to allow each one of us to share our wisdom, which is really the universal wisdom coming through us. Remembering that we are pure channels, we are clear. Of course, we are sovereign beings. We choose to take action steps to remain and sustain this space of clarity, so that when it comes to these moments, we can allow this intuition with a capital I to be expressed through us. This is universal, divine, cosmic intelligence in perfection. So let's get to know it a little better. Let's dance with it. Let's live with it. Let's be in this space of celebration and openness and curiosity on where it's leading us in each footstep on our path.
Yes. I like to call it the wonder and the wander. You wonder what the possibilities are, the infinite grace and abundance and joy. And then you get to wander and follow the inspired steps. And this is what all of us are being called to. Giuliano, myself, everyone who's spoken in these breakout sessions before and to come. And it's an invitation to all who are listening. We're creating an energetic ripple here, and you get to choose. You get to interact with the sovereignty and choose for yourself, and choose which horizon you're moving towards, and choose how deeply you want to interact with your intuition and how you might want to create your life now. So thank you again for being with both of us, for Giuliano, and thank you for the beautiful words. So heartfelt, truly heartfelt. And we will see all of you on the next Salon for the Intuitive Eye. Sending you much love and aloha.
Aloha.